Welcome back to Learn Economia. Here we are going to look at certain measures in order to measure the economy. We know that GDP is one of the primary indicators of growth. So, apart from GDP, what are the several other methods so that we can use these measures in order to measure the economy? In order to measure the growth or development of the economy. First of all, we have to understand capital formation, which is also a measure in order to understand the economic growth and development of an economy. Capital plays a strategic role in the process of development of an economy, at least in the initial stages of development. If you look into the Harry-Dormer model, you can see that economic growth depends directly on the saving ratio and inversely on the incremental capital output ratio. So, in the case of an least underdeveloped economy or least developed economy or underdeveloped economy, these economies must generate a high rate of savings so as to accelerate the rate of capital formation. People must be able and willing to devote a substantial portion of their production to building capital rather than to present consumption. So, whenever there is some production process going on in an economy, it's very important to note that we have to give importance to present as well as future production. So, in order to give importance to future production, what we have to do is that we have to set apart some amount of capital for tomorrow. So, as a result, we have to invest that. So there is a wide agreement among economists that lack of capital is the biggest obstacle to economic growth. No plan for development is likely to succeed unless adequate capital is forthcoming. A country must save at least 25 to 30% of its income every year in order to achieve a steady growth rate, uh, especially with respect to national income or per capita income. And if you look at the case of Japan, you will see that Japan has achieved this target in the post Second World War period. And it's if you, for many people, it's very much difficult even to imagine what Japan has done that too after the Second World War. So we know that Second World War is a period of time where the world has witnessed a vast devastation. There was ruin, everything. So, but Japan has what it has done is that it has recovered from the repercussions of the World War, the Second World War, and it has tried and it could achieve its target. And in the case of Germany, Italy, Australia, Finland, and all, we could see that these economies have also succeeded in saving 20% or more of their national income, and they have saved this for future. So they have invested it, and as a result of that, what happened was that there was high growth rate in the economies of these nations. Next, we have to understand population growth, which is another way of another way we can see that it's one of the indicators, but it is one of the indicators of economic growth in one sense, but it's very difficult to tell that, because if the population is human capital, then you can say that it's an asset to the economy. But if it is not so, if the population is not trained, if they are not educated, then you cannot say that these people are asset to the economy. And also it's very important to strike a balance between the birth rate and death rate, because if one is more than the other to a great extent, that will create population related problems in the economy. So as a result, it's very important to strike a balance between the two. And if this could be done, the population problem can be solved and the standard of living could be improved. Overpopulation, we know that it's one of the important problems that every country is facing, almost every country is facing. If a country can manage its manpower properly, then it will definitely could be considered as an asset to the economy. Simply population growth rate could not be considered as an asset. This population could be educated, they should be trained, then only they can be considered as an asset to the economy. Then we have technical progress or technological progress, and this thing, technical progress or technological progress, is something which we could be able to see, especially with respect to development economics. It has been statistically established that the level of technological knowledge or technical know-how has a direct bearing on the pace of development. With the advance of science as well as technology, or technical knowledge or technological knowledge, people could discover more and more sophisticated techniques of production, which could gradually raise the level of productivity in the key arenas of development in the economy. Technological progress may refer to either the production innovation or product innovation or the process innovation. So it could be any of these. As per Schumpeter, the technological progress has been considered to be the engine of growth, especially with respect to the developed economies, because these economies has gone through different processes, different stages in order to attain the state of developed status, right? So and technical progress played a very important role in the uh, in the growth path taken by, or the development path taken by these nations. If you look into the Solo model and all, still you could see how important technical progress is. Now, Solo as well as Robertson have observed that technical progress has been the most important source of economic growth, especially in the US economies between 1909 and 1949, which is known as the residue factor of growth. And it has got the effect of raising productivity of resources, and it's considered to be essential for social as well as economic system of the country to generate a higher rate of scientific discovery and technological change in order to avoid the effects of diminishing returns and exhaustible resources. Next, we have another important point. We all know that we have every economy has got some resources to deal with, but it's very important to use this economy use these resources so very wisely. So wisely in the sense that these resources that we have should be utilized betterly, as well as there should be full utilization of resources. All these are very much required in order to prevent wastage. An economy has to operate at its potential capacity, or it should be very close to that, right? And the failure to use productive capacity fully has been considered to be one of the chief reasons for the inability of the economy to attain its full growth potential. Especially in the case of least developed economies like India and all, we could see that the resources could not be used properly. There has been a lot of wastage, and also either the government or the people cannot be compliant. Both the government and the people can be compliant, because both of them should tie together. They both of them should stand together, should be united to make sure that they utilize these resources in the sense that there is no wastage. Okay, so that's all. Please like, share, and subscribe to this channel for more videos. I welcome you to my Telegram group and Telegram channel to discuss your doubts, and thank you for watching.